Hello, I'm Patricia Delmonique, a Centennial College Corporate Communications and Public Relations graduate. I'm here with David A. Walden, Secretary General for the Canadian Commission for UNESCO. Mr. Walden will be speaking at the Intercultural Dialogue in Tourism Vision 2020 Symposium, hosted by Centennial's Culture and Heritage Institute. The symposium will focus on various approaches we as Canadians can take to strengthen and invest in our culture and heritage. I'd like to thank Mr. Walden for joining me to discuss issues surrounding culture and diversity. Why do we need to develop Canada's cultural and heritage tourism industry?
Well, I think there's two reasons. It's both economic and it's cultural. And from the cultural point of view, it really provides an opportunity for people to experience other cultures firsthand, for them to get to know other people in their own milieu, and from that way have a very real experience. The economic side, I think, is probably a little more obvious, but it benefits the local populations, and it also adds that particular element from a development point of view where people want to develop a tourism industry.
Can you explain the purpose behind UNESCO's International Year for the Rapprochement of Cultures and International Year of Biodiversity?
Well, international years are a technique that's used by the United Nations to draw attention to a particular issue or issues. And the designation of an international year is a way to focus the global community's attitudes and behaviors and even a lot of activities around a particular problem. It highlights the issue and it gives, hopefully, the opportunity to provide some solutions to it as well.
As Canada is a diverse nation, can you tell me about the benefits of cultural diversity?
First, diversity is a reality. This isn't an artificial construction. We see it every day, and I think that really what people have to do is just look at it from that point of view, that it's not something that's being imposed. It's something that's very real. It's part of their daily lives. And as a result, they have to approach it from that point of view and say diversity is a strength. The differences, that diversity really brings a lot of enrichment to a society. And it also, hopefully, it should expand people's worldviews, because they're meeting people from different cultural backgrounds on a regular basis. And hopefully from that they get a better understanding of those different cultures and of some of the challenges perhaps that they face, but also some of the enrichment that they can bring to our society.
Is the impact of globalization strengthening or weakening our societies?
I think the answer is both. I think, again, if globalization is seen as some sort of monolithic economic or cultural approach, it's definitely weakening it. If it's seen as a way for people to know what's going on globally, I think people are much more conscious these days of what's happening globally. I think the opportunity to see and witness what's happening in those other societies, if you look at globalization from that point of view, is a strength. So I think it really depends on how you approach it. If you see it in purely economic terms, there's definitely some challenges. If you see it in a larger dialogue perspective, it's definitely a strength.
How can Canadians preserve global linguistic diversity while ensuring newcomers learn the English language to secure employment and smoothly adjust to their new home?
First of all, I would say that probably we should say English and French. But from that point of view, yes, people obviously need to learn one of the two official languages to function, particularly in the workplace. But again, that opportunity for others and for people who are either only English-speaking or English-speaking originally, to have that exposure is a good thing as well. I'm amazed at the number of people in the work that I do who speak English, French, and Spanish fluently. More and more I'm seeing this, particularly amongst younger people. So clearly they're seeing the opportunity to speak multiple languages as an opportunity and something that they do in a very welcoming way. It's not seen as any sort of imposition or threat. And I think we need to look at it from that perspective and say, yes, in certain circumstances, people coming here need to learn one of the two official languages, but that in no reason, there's no way that should in any way endanger their language and suggest that they should lose or give up that language in the process.
How can educators ensure they are shaping students to become conscious of their global environment?
I think it's very difficult to either approach any subject. If you think history, you cannot teach the history of Canada without understanding what was happening in the world even then. So I think it has to be an approach that's in the education system. But I would think that most students would hold their teachers and their professors to task if they were trying to avoid the global issues. It's impossible, I think, and you have to have that sensitivity and that knowledge, but it would be very difficult today, I would think, to be that sort of monolithic in your teaching approach.
Does the media have a negative impact on cultures and diversity?
I think the risk of the false diversity is people who think that if they can see it on television and film that they don't need to experience it firsthand. That to me it's perhaps better than nothing, but there's no substitution for that firsthand experience. So the diversity is real. I think we've seen a lot of that movement of immigration, and so that's the real part of it. It's the people who either want to not interact with those communities or think that sitting in their living room or their family room that they can experience diversity through the media is clearly an error.
Thanks again to David A. Walden for taking the time to speak to Centennial College. It was a pleasure to meet you, and I look forward to hearing your lecture.